Welcome. 2022 Teach for America Greater New Orleans State of the Region Address. My name is Scarlett Cornelius, and I was a 2004 Greater New Orleans Corps member in Jefferson Parish. I am currently the Director of Post-Secondary Strategy and Programming from KIPP New Orleans Schools, where I run our alumni teaching force and am celebrating my 16th year. As a parent and educator, I know firsthand that 2021 was a tough year for our community. We had such high hopes that the challenges of 2020 would resolve in 2021, but the COVID-19 pandemic and Hurricane Ida had other plans. Throughout it all, teachers had some of the most difficult jobs to do, often putting their mental and physical health at risk in order to support their students and families. I know that having a 4-year-old and 2-year-old during this pandemic was not easy, but we still have reasons to celebrate. After working in schools for almost 20 years now, I have witnessed the incredible commitment of Corps members, alumni, and educators from across the community firsthand. To the educators watching, we celebrate you as the heroes you are. We see your love for your students and your innovative new ideas that help students learn and grow. We can see that love when you go above and beyond to help your students feel safe and invested. But even heroes need help. The obstacles of the last year have forced many of us to learn some hard lessons and make even harder choices. We must harness these lessons we've learned as educators, families, and community members to inform how we can co-create a future of true possibility with and for our students and families. Tonight, you will hear from members of the Teach for America Greater New Orleans team and Executive Director Ge'ron Tatum as they share their reflections on the lessons from the last year and the past 30 years of TFA in Louisiana. You will also learn more about how TFA is harnessing that learning to increase educational and life outcomes for kids in the future as we dive into the organization's 2030 goal and what we need to do to meet that goal here in Greater New Orleans. To get us started, I'll pass it over to TFA GNO staff members Henry Rivera-Leal and Blair Causey, who will share a little more about what our Corps members have been up to this past year.
Thanks, Scarlett. My name is Henry Rivera-Leal. I am one of the coaches here in the TFA GNO region. I'm the manager, coach, and content specialist. And I'm also a 2015 alum.
Hello, everyone. My name is Blair. I am a coach and DEI practitioner for the GNO region, and I am a 2018 alum. As Scarlett said, the past 12 months have been challenging, to say the least. As teacher coaches on staff, we've had the opportunity to see for ourselves what is happening in some of the classrooms for our over 100 Corps members currently working school.
It's been another roller coaster of a school year, but they, like so many other educators, have really come through for their students. We've been humbled by our Corps members' determination to work through the adversities that they faced to ensure their students kept learning.
And they haven't done it alone. So many members of our community have come together to support each other when their students, families, and colleagues have needed it most. That's why our region chose the phrase of going all in when sharing about the impact that we've seen across GNO this school year. Take Jonathan Graham, for example, a 2021 Corps member who has gone above and beyond to cultivate inclusive community at his school. He has fought hard throughout the year to learn and adapt to the needs of his students, specifically English language learners. He has also seen tremendous growth in his 6th grade math classroom and has managed to do all of this while coaching the basketball team.
Or take our member Jarvis Dillard, who created his own international baccalaureate curriculum to give his students an opportunity to be competitive for college admissions. His students have shown vast improvements in their reading and writing, and they've read over 4 books in 1 semester. Not only that, he's also doing constant fundraisers for his dance team, which, by the way, he also coaches. The TFA GNO team has also gone all in on providing unique and transformative training and development opportunities for Corps members and alumni.
We've started our GNO outreach program to empower Corps members to volunteer alongside members of our community. Through this program, we've partnered with mission-aligned nonprofits like Solitary Gardens, Soul, Greenlight NOLA, and Son of a Saint.
We've trained alumni educators to coach core members in our Alumni Coaching Fellowship and continue to building our policy fellowship for core members and alumni who want to learn more about education policy work.
We launched our 30th anniversary storytelling series to explore TFA's impact in Louisiana since 1990.
We started the Entangled podcast series to amplify important conversations on education and to provide resources for educators.
And we've prioritized our core members' physical, mental, and emotional health through our wellness program.
These programs are just some of the support and resources we've provided for educators across the region, in addition to our teacher training and development sessions and one-on-one coaching for core members.
There are many amazing educators and advocates who have helped make these programs happen, and we're grateful for their collaboration, insight, and support. Our community knows how to pull together during tough times.
It's not easy to do the work, but it's especially challenging right now for many of us. It's okay not to be okay, but we'll get through it together. We see you, and we thank you for everything that you are doing, have done, and will do for kids.
Thanks for sharing these updates, Henry and Blair, and for the reminder. You all have definitely been busy, and I can't wait to hear more about TFA's plan for the future. So let's get to it. I'm honored to introduce Ge'ron Tatum, the new Executive Director for Teach for America Greater New Orleans. As a Louisiana native, lifelong educator, and parent of 2 children who attended New Orleans public schools, Tatum is committed to expanding educational equity and excellence for schools across the state. He is a former teacher and school principal who most recently led Phyllis Wheatley Community School for 5 years. After leading the Wheatley community through the challenges and inequities highlighted by the COVID-19 pandemic, he saw the urgent need for innovative, community-centered leadership at all levels of the education system. He decided to expand his influence and impact by joining Teach for America Greater New Orleans as Executive Director in July 2021. And now, let's welcome.
Thank you, Scarlett, for kicking us off. As I begin tonight, I am overwhelmed with gratitude for all of you that are here. I am thankful for our core members, current and former Teach for America staff, school partners, community leaders, donors, and the students and families that we serve. I want to welcome you all to tonight's event. While we're still not able to be in space and community together in person, I can feel the energy and love from each of you as we kick off yet another year. My name is Ge'ron Tatum, and I'm the Executive Director of Teach for America Greater New Orleans. In honor of Black History Month, I stand here with you tonight on the shoulders of so many amazing Black educators that came before me. So many educators that fought for equity in educational spaces so that I may be able to be here tonight as a Black man leading this great organization. So far tonight, you've had the chance to hear from Teach for America alums and GNO staff about some of the challenges of 2021 and how Teach for America Greater New Orleans sought to address these challenges. Tonight, I'm excited to share with you a bit about who I am, what Teach for America has been up to, and what I believe needs to be true for us as a city to realize the bright futures we want to see for our kids. 15 years ago, I started my teaching career when I was recruited from Lincoln University by the Kansas City, Missouri School District. On my first day, I walked into a dusty classroom with broken desks, old rusty file cabinets, and bookshelves that were filled with materials dating back to the 1980s. There were ceiling tiles missing, stained carpet, chalkboards, and virtually no technology, except, of course, my trusty overhead projector. On that day, I saw 2 things. First, I saw a vision of a classroom with beautiful bulletin boards, student work with A+s plastered all over the walls, and a future filled with possibility and life for the students I would teach in this classroom. And second, I saw firsthand the inequities and gaps that already existed for my students even before they walked into the classroom, due to the lack of proper materials, when at affluent schools in the same district, they had so much more. When I started my career in education all those years ago, I wanted to ensure that all children, no matter their background or circumstances, would be given the opportunities and support they needed to attain their goals and become the leaders they were destined to be. I wanted to share the light bulb moments with them and be the wind that blew open the doors that many said would never be open because of their backgrounds. As a classroom teacher, I experienced firsthand just how challenging this work is. Teachers have the task of not only teaching lessons, but there are also the recess duties, the parent phone calls, there's the late night homework help sessions, the grading papers, and there are the breaks that really aren't breaks because all you can do is think about the lessons that you're going to teach when you get back with your kids. Or think about whether or not your fifth grader has everything that they need during the break. This is the life of a teacher. It is truly a calling, and while difficult, I believe it to be the most rewarding career. Because despite the million tiny decisions that had to be made in a 5-minute time span, being able to see Adrian master his multiplication tables, see Chloe read her first novel, or Javier write a masterful ACIT paragraph, it makes it all worth it. Leading to these wins with students is why this work is so critical. It is these wins that have kept Teach for America Corps members working hard every day to ensure that even during a pandemic that has highlighted so many flaws that exist in our education system, that students have access to a great education. Most recently, prior to joining the Teach for America team, I was the principal of Phyllis Wheatley Middle School in the Treme, leading my school through the COVID-19 pandemic. While I was leading at Phyllis Wheatley, we faced many obstacles, from delivering online content to scholars, building plans for mass material distribution before we were able to come back in person, to creating close to 10 master schedules to accommodate hybrid days, in-person days, fully virtual days, asynchronous days, and for all the grade levels that we taught. It was a lot, to say the least. Like many of you here tonight, we had to completely rethink what it meant to be in school and how we supported our kids to positive outcomes. From March 13th, 2020, when we got the notification that schools in Louisiana would be closing due to the pandemic, to right now today, in February of 2022, while we're still battling the pandemic, one thing rings true. Our work together, not just at my school back then, but as a city, was a clear example of the collaboration, alignment, and coalition building that must happen in order for us to see the growth in our kids and lead to a stronger community overall. It takes all of us. The teachers across the city banding together to share resources and best practices to support kids, different schools and charter networks coming together for daily distribution for our kids, daily food distribution for our kids directly in their neighborhoods, and companies and community organizations coming together to provide technology and access to the internet so that our kids' learning could continue. This collective work is what will move us forward. Tonight, as I share my vision for the future of Teach for America Greater New Orleans, I want to be clear. The same commitment I had as a principal to ensure that the teachers teaching the students in my building were good for kids and were being developed in a way that led to positive outcomes is the same commitment I am making to my work here at Teach for America. In addition to that commitment, because of the relationships I have built over my 15 years of experience in education in this city, I am also committed to building alignment and coalitions with other education and community leaders to help recommit us to improving schools across Greater New Orleans. 6 months ago, when I took on this role, I started with listening, meeting with many of you who are here tonight to get insights and feedback to build my understanding of Teach for America's story in Greater New Orleans. Your candid reflections, both affirming and critical, about the need for Teach for America to continue working with you to develop strong teachers, naming our role in upholding a failing system here in Greater New Orleans, and the lack of concrete action felt across the city has fueled my passion to put action to our words and deepen our community impact in the region. When I joined the team this summer, Teach for America was already a year into its 10-year goal, a goal that is grounded in deep research. And while tremendously aspirational, meeting this goal will have lasting effects on our kids and our community. Our hope is that by 2030, we will see twice as many children in communities we serve here in Greater New Orleans reaching proficiency in math and reading, which will put them on a path to economic mobility and a future filled with possibility. While we must see growth in academics, we also know there are other significant factors such as suspension rates, lack of social emotional learning programming, and absenteeism, for example, that play a role in these results. And we're committed to working towards solutions for these root causes to get to the academic gains that we want to see. Teach for America has been working alongside so many educators, advocates, and leaders across our community and our state to think differently about education since our inception in 1990. And there has been incremental progress in the Greater New Orleans education system, leading to better outcomes and bright spots in so many places. However, we are at a pivotal moment now when it is painfully obvious amid mass teacher resignations, deep student trauma stemming from the pandemic and Hurricane Ida, and student performance reaching significant lows, that so much more needs to be done to rethink and in some places completely reinvent the ways in which we educate and empower our kids to fulfill their full potential. To evolve education, we must recruit, develop, and educate exceptional, diverse, and courageous teachers and leaders who are working and leading in new ways. We must co-create the future of our city's education system with children and families at the table. And we must be a city that fosters learning and innovation in our school system while equity is held at the center. Here in Greater New Orleans, our work toward this 2030 goal starts with 3 key ideas, beginning with results. Teach for America Greater New Orleans has secured partnerships and agreements at the state and local levels to help us track our students' academic performance. Working with state officials and school systems leaders to track our progress in student achievement is integral to our success. This gives us the opportunity to anonymously track student growth for classrooms led by TFA core members and alumni. Starting with analyzing results in everything that we do is the only way we can see change. If we are leading equitable classrooms that empower learning and development, our students' success should be evidence that this work is making a difference. This has to be the bedrock of our work. We have to see kids' academic success prioritized and evident in each classroom in order to inform our program's efficacy and help us to more effectively prioritize the direction of our teacher development strategy moving forward. We also know that we must get results in multiple areas outside of academics. In my experience in our schools here in New Orleans, I have seen the impact that trauma has on students' ability to learn. There were so many days as a teacher and as a school leader, I had to process issues that my middle school students were struggling with to help them find coping strategies. I don't have enough fingers to count the number of times that kids just needed a shoulder to cry on or an adult they trusted to listen to their perspective. Because of this, we have made a commitment to working with our core members and school partners to track student progress in areas of social emotional learning, student leadership development, as well as equity and inclusion in the classroom. Last year, we implemented our first student voice survey, which gathers helpful feedback from our core members' students on the efficacy of core members' leadership in the classroom. And our most recent results show that 86% of core members' students surveyed agreed that their teacher speaks with them with respect, leading to a classroom grounded in equity and inclusion. And 80% of students felt that their teacher advocates in moments where students may be treated differently because of race. These strong results not only give us a clear foundation for how our work can and must continue to chip away at the systemic inequities that persist in our education system, but they also bolster the relationships with kids I so believe must be present for solid learning to happen. As I mentioned earlier, we must co-create the future of our city's education system with children and families at the table. And through our student voice survey, we're getting clear insights into the needs and hopes of students in Greater New Orleans. If we're able to achieve these results, they give us the chance to secure a future of equitable systems that will create access, which is our second key idea that will move us to our 2030 goal. It is my firm belief that student performance leads to access to life-changing opportunities for students. Currently, 82% of kids from low-income backgrounds read below grade level. Like many of you, I've seen how that can negatively impact a child's long-term academic success. And study after study continues to prove that students that are not reading proficiently by 4th grade are 15 times more likely to drop out of school. Teach for America believes that ensuring children are reading proficiently is an act of equity. And so Teach for America core members engaged in summer training that helped them understand the science of reading, which has led to stronger results for the students that we serve. If we are not ensuring our children can read, we are not truly breaking down barriers to provide equitable access to opportunities that will lead to economic mobility for our kids. As Teach for America continues to explore our role in upholding systems of oppression that create barriers for our students, we are committed to prioritizing equity in all of our teacher recruitment, training, and ongoing development. This is the third key: development. For us to become the organization we desire to be for our core members and to have the impact in the classroom that we know is needed, we have to have a strong commitment to teacher development. Creating access and leading to results is not possible without a program that cultivates effective teachers. This year, our program team has committed to developing teachers in new ways due to the pandemic. Our teachers are learning more about leading classrooms through digital platforms and learning new ways to support students through trauma. As we look forward to the future of our organization, we'll be working much harder alongside school partners to develop our teachers into data-focused practitioners that respond to the needs of students grounded in data and in results. While we work to build a strong new teacher in-service program, we also know that we cannot stop there. The current teacher shortage is a national crisis. While we're still battling the pandemic, we're also faced with the harsh realities that in the coming year, we may not have enough teachers to staff the classrooms in our city. We must find solutions to this problem, and we must find them fast. Teach for America Greater New Orleans has worked diligently with our national recruitment team to recruit more equity-minded educators into the profession of teaching, which is a key step. However, we look deeper to determine the root cause of the need to recruit so many teachers to the profession every single year. The most recent data from the American Federation of Teachers states that over 30% of the teachers surveyed plan to retire early or leave the teaching profession altogether. If we can ensure that teachers are staying in the classroom, we won't have to rely so heavily on bringing in more teachers every year to stem the flow. Over the past 2 years, we have made a strategic shift to right-sizing our core, which has given us the opportunity to focus more heavily on the quality of our core members' development. This focus has led to some of our strongest retention numbers to date. Even in spite of our global pandemic, we have retained over 95% of our core members to complete their 2-year commitments. And over 70% of our core members stay to teach a 3rd year or beyond, even after their core commitment is over. Having been a teacher myself and leading teachers through COVID, I absolutely understand what educators are facing and how hard you are all working to be there for your kids and families. As a father of 2 amazing kids who attend New Orleans public schools, I can say without a doubt that teachers truly are essential to the development of our community. Teach for America Greater New Orleans is taking teacher and leadership development work on as a priority this year and in the years to come. I have seen through my own experience how essential mid-level and teacher leaders are in schools, not only to help cultivate masterful teachers, but also to support and add capacity to school leadership. It is through this belief that we're continuing to think of new innovative ways to engage and develop over 1,100 Teach for America alums that are still living in the region, many of whom are still working in education. Through our Alumni Coaching Fellowship and the continued development of our mentor teacher programming, we are providing support to alumni even beyond their core year. Programs like these and support for our alums are critical to see progress toward our 2030 goal. Our 2030 goal has been designed from over 30 years of education experience in communities across America. We've learned about what students and teachers really need to be successful and elevate their leadership to new levels. We've learned about the challenges that inequitable systems create for some of our most vulnerable populations. We've learned about the importance of building authentic relationships with the communities that we serve. And we've learned about the value of innovative, equity-minded leadership at all levels to ensure that we're keeping kids at the center of our work. I also acknowledge that lessons come from making mistakes. And while some of the mistakes have had some far-reaching effects, Teach for America Greater New Orleans is committed to getting it right, with true equity in our schools as the result that we have always sought after. As a part of our 30 by 30 transformation series from our 30th anniversary, we spotlighted the stories of many of the leaders who are part of the Teach for America community. Their reflections and insight continue to write the next chapter for Teach for America Greater New Orleans. You are also a part of that story. Thanks to our partners at Entergy, tonight we're unveiling an interactive website exploring the impact of Teach for America in Greater New Orleans dating back to 1990. It's a great way to learn more about the incredible leaders who have devoted to educational equity and excellence in the Greater New Orleans area in the past 30 years. We're grateful for their support and the support of so many other individuals, businesses, and foundations that make our work possible. But most of all, we're grateful for the leaders like you who are committed to co-creating a future of true possibility and economic mobility with and for our students. You know, I asked myself a single question as I entered this role. And to close us out, I'd like to pose that same question to you. What would our beloved city look like? And what could be possible if every leader in the Greater New Orleans education community were aligned on a pathway to reinventing and building up our education system? While my answer to this question has and will continue to evolve, I know for certain that the next move that we make as a city has to be together. It is through these diverse coalitions of leaders aligned on a single charge that our focus and alignment Our focus and alignment as a city has been in that place at one point. And if we can get back to that place, the possibilities for our kids are endless. The future is bright for us, GNO. I look forward to our partnership as we co-create a future filled with possibility for our kids and families of Greater New Orleans. Thank you.